there's games that we're getting to the point, a little bit like last year post the Bernier injury. Remember when St. Louis came in and everyone just said this could be an incredibly ugly game in the ACC tonight, and guess what? They were right, it was. We're getting to the point where you can see games on the schedule for the Leafs, and you just know. You know they won't win, even though there's something very random about playing 82 hockey games, and bad teams can beat good teams. You should never do single game betting in the NHL. But for the next 3 or 4 games at the Hurricanes, hosting the Jets, hosting the Flyers, when I call them winnable games, that doesn't mean I'm guaranteeing them wins. You pulled back from this team might have a run in them, and for good reason, because Cody Francis has been traded, Mike Cirelli has been traded, and there's no Lucan for a long time ago. Yeah. So when you run down the schedule, you see the Leafs versus the Oilers, March 16th. So what are we talking about? 3 weeks from next Monday. Well, there's your swing game. There's your swing game, and are the Leafs going to be? They're 7 points up on Edmonton right now. By then, are they going to be 3, 4? I don't think the Leafs are going to be 12 points up on Edmonton when they play that game. So it's a lot more possible than it looked a couple weeks ago. If the Leafs can go into that game at Edmonton being 5 or less points up on Edmonton, they have a real chance to finish 29. There's some other teams that I'm seeing there as well. And are they starting Christopher Gibson in that game? I think that's a very important question to ask. Jonathan Bernier, member of the Edmonton. I don't know. We have a trade proposal. I can throw out to you a little later before the deadline. Yeah. 10 after 6. Let's get you what else you need to know.
This is your Thursday morning six-pack. 6 things you need to start your day.
Number 6, according to reports, FIFA set to confirm the 2022 Qatar World Cup will take place in November and December. A task force will meet next week and make the recommendation for a Winter World Cup, of course, in Qatar. Temperatures rise to nearly 50 degrees Celsius in the traditional June and July calendar spot. Yeah, I am really, this is another layer of depression to the fact that 5 years ago they gave Qatar the World Cup in the first place. And you know how crowded the North American sports calendar has different peaks and valleys. Having the World Cup in June, you found yourself, you're not a big soccer guy, and you found yourself flicking on the TV, maybe staying with a match or two and having some intrigue. I don't think in November, December with the NFL, college football, NHL, NBA all going on, not saying no one's going to watch, but how can the networks not feel their ratings are going to take a major dent, aren't they?
I'm really excited that it's moving to the winter, where we have other things on our mind, and we don't have to watch it in June and talk. I'm very excited.
Maybe if I'm still in the...
What else? I mean, other than the Jays game, there's nothing else.
Yeah, and the NBA Finals, maybe. That would stretch about halfway through the tournament, maybe.
That might not be in the distance of 2022.
Perhaps it'll be in the NBA Finals that year, I think.
Number 5, the Minnesota Vikings still have a jersey waiting for Adrian Peterson. In the strongest statement yet, Vikings GM Rick Spielman says he expects the running back to stay with the team after his suspension is lifting. His last carry came more than 5 months ago.
And I wonder how quiet training camp is if he's there, and how quiet the preseason games are. They were ready. We were all ready to see Adrian Peterson just basically not miss a beat until the Vikings sort of pulled the chute on themselves and sponsors pulled the chute on the Vikings. And God, this was 3 weeks after all the Ray Rice stuff. So I'll be fascinated to see how he's accepted back. Not necessarily in the room, because how many NFL players came out and said, unlike Ray Rice, where people go, oh yeah, I understand that. How many NFL players came out and said, listen, I disciplined my child the same way. It was incredible to hear how many people did. Charles Barkley defended it, lots of people did.
Yeah, it was a weird societal thing, and I kind of stay with what the player is. I think a lot can get forgiven, a lot can be rehabilitated. Adrian Peterson's a superstar, so not that you're going to look the other way, but you are going to give a second chance. Ray Rice did something very heinous, just like Adrian Peterson, but guess what? He's pushing 30, and he was very, very average when he played.
Yeah, that matters.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that people are more offended at Ray Rice. The juice isn't worth the squeeze in terms of fan perception. I don't know if Ray Rice plays. You know Adrian Peterson will. Speaking of the NFL, number 4, Larry Fitzgerald agrees to a 2-year deal that keeps him in Arizona. 31-year-old's been the Cards' top receiver since 2004, although last year, signs that were down, just 63 catches for 734 in a couple of sports.
And 31 years of age, and I don't want to say the receiver position's a young guy's game. Look at all the controversy right now in Dallas. They're talking about franchising Des Bryant. He's bitching and complaining about it. There's a lot there that could make it really, really intriguing. And there's a great debate, I think, is do you need an elite receiver to go to Super Bowls? The Seahawks, Patriots, a few other teams are proving maybe you don't.
Although Rob Gronkowski is kind of an elite receiver.
He's really, really, but he's also hard to keep healthy.
Yeah.
And that's a position, even though Fitzgerald's been healthy, Calvin Johnson's been healthy.
Number 3, the Montreal Canadiens lose 4-2 to the Ottawa Senators and may have lost more than that. PK Subban blocks a shot with his foot, hobbles off. And the team has called up defenseman Mark Tenorti from the minors. Not sure if that is related, but one thing is certain. As soon as PK Subban's foot got out of that skate last night, it was swollen up. Number 2, the NBA trade deadline hits at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Are the Toronto Raptors going to be on the radar for any moves? We'll discuss it coming up at 6:22. And the number one thing you need to know, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're off. Don't play until tomorrow as they visit Carolina, but don't look down. They're only 7 points up on the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers win 4-3 in a shootout last night over the Boston Bruins.
Don't forget on Sportsnet tonight, regional action, including the Canadians in that back-to-back. We don't know if PK Subban will play. They get the team that was here in Toronto Tuesday night. The Florida Panthers, that's on Sportsnet East. Vancouver at the Rangers. At the Land Video, coaches against his former club, only happens twice a year. On Sportsnet Pacific at 7, and Columbus-Pittsburgh, first-round rematch from last year's playoffs on the main network, so you see that on Sportsnet Ontario at 7 o'clock. We'll see some Raptors off till tomorrow night. Sorry about that.
So 6:15, Brady and Walker. Now, we want to say to you the ACC cut up March the 7th. It'll be Toronto and the St. Louis Blues. We have tickets to give away to you. Name us this mystery player. Here's your first clue this morning. He did spend parts of 2 seasons in St. Louis, but also played over 200 games with Toronto. Your next clue. He's coming up.
We'll talk more about the NBA's Eastern Conference and how wide open it truly is. We've got a bit of a